And we were asked, what's at risk for us if we were to lose some more of the highway? And of course, my first thought is, well, it's a transportation investment. It's an asset. We spent a lot of money, taxpayer money, to construct and maintain that facility. But when I started thinking about it, well, it is a minor route. It doesn't carry a lot of traffic. It's not a major freight route. And could we maintain the highway if we were to lose a section in the middle there? And I thought, well, sure, we could just redraw our maintenance lines, and the Raymond crew could come up to the south end of the closure, and the Aberdeen crews could push down to Pacific County and maintain that section of 105. Because really, we see about 3,000 cars a day on Highway 105, which is significantly less than what we see on I-5 in an hour in Vancouver. But we're not charged with maintaining and operating an interstate system. We're responsible for a comprehensive transportation system. And that not only includes maintaining routes between urban centers, it also includes maintaining and operating routes between urban and rural centers, and also between rural communities, which is really what Highway 105 is. We do know that it's the critical transportation lifeline out here. We do know what it represents to the residents, the business owners, the farmers. It's emergency services. This is a critical link for them, including state patrol, sheriff, fire, all those emergency services that are provided. And we also know that it acts as a dike out here, and it protects the land behind it, and it keeps the salt water from entering the cranberry bogs. And lastly, it's conveyance to provide electricity and water to these communities that need it. So there's absolutely an obligation for the department to keep the highway open the best that we can. And we've done a lot of things over the years trying to achieve that. I want to apologize to Dave in advance, but it says Sea Strand Creek. We're working on cleaning up all our visuals so they say drainage ditch. I apologize. But we've done a lot of things out here in this area. We've had a lot of emergency rock armor repairs. We had the submarine netting repair that we built. Of course, we constructed the dike and the groin, and we did do the repair in 2006 there at Sea Strand Creek. We were able to provide David a small amount of funding, match funding for his grant that he got through Pacific County. And then we've also requested some help from the Corps of Engineers. They're doing a lot of analysis, I'm sure we'll hear about it tonight. But they're looking at the erosion and flooding risk all along Highway 105 between North Cove all the way down to Oakland. So that's just an example of what our maintenance crews are out doing today. Basically, they're maintaining that embankment. They're placing that rock in an effort to prevent the erosion and the damage and keep the highway open. You've probably seen the maintenance stockpile we have out there if you've driven by, and that was a stretch for us to get that rock to maintain that facility. So maintenance funding is an issue for us, and it's pretty limited, but we're doing what we can to keep the roadway open. Until I started working on this project, I had no idea what revetment was, so I had to include a picture of that. This is what we built in 2006 down at the mouth of the drainage ditch. You can see at the bottom of the photo, we've got the rocks protecting embankment. We've also got the root wads there that have been buried, protecting, kind of trying to slow that wave action as it comes in and out of that channel. So we do have two funded projects. The first one we constructed in 2017. It's a $4 million project, and what it is, it's a series of berms and revetment work along the highway, about milepost 20. To the east there, in the red, it's hard to see, but there's a berm that's designed to protect the roadway from the debris washing up as a result of the big winter storms or even the high tides. Keeps the logs off the road and everything else. It's about a 1,300-foot long berm. Just a short distance to the west is another debris berm with a 400-foot revetment included in that. Just to the west of that, and the yellow is a buried revetment, 300 feet long. That'll provide a little bit more erosion control protection for us. And further to the west in the pink, there's two sections of revetment repaired. They're about 1,800 feet long. And what that's basically doing is fixing, repairing kind of our existing infrastructure there along the highway. And it's repairing all that's been damaged over the years. It's kind of been neglected. One of the most interesting things, I think, is in green, the dynamic revetment test section. It's a 150-foot long section.
There's a pointer with it, the laser pointer with the,
there we go.
there.
Yeah, right there. It's just a 150-foot section. It's a relatively new design concept to us anyway. This is an example of it. It's been used successfully in Oregon most recently. So it's really designed to mimic the naturally occurring cobble and gravel beaches we have up and down the Washington and Oregon coast. It's a little easier to construct. It's considered an above ground structure, so it's easier to construct and it's cheaper, of course, to construct. Cheaper means easier in construction. And really the logic behind it is that they've got the smaller cobbles and the gaps in between. They absorb the wave energy and dissipate it, so it doesn't do any further damage. The only issue with that is that because they are smaller rocks, they have a tendency to move. So if we don't maintain that structure and stability of that feature, then we have to go and do some maintenance. But we think that's offset by the cost of the construction and the ease of construction. And it also has a better looking appearance. It's got the grass on top. Certainly looks better than a lot of the other structures that we've constructed over the years. Our second project is down by the mouth of the drainage ditch. It's basically repairing what we had built several years ago. It's got some root wads extending into the channel. We'll put some rock on, bury those, put rock on top so we can protect that embankment. Hopefully prevent that from eroding any further. It's a $1.3 million project. It's only 400 feet long, and we're really hoping that prevents all that erosion and damage of that channel. We did submit for a Tiger grant for this project. We wanted to build it in 2017. Unfortunately, we didn't get the money, so we have to rely on the state funds, which are coming either 2019 or 2020. So we've got some time before we can actually see some construction out there. So as far as the future, the biggest challenge for us is obviously development of these affordable solutions. All the work that the Corps is doing, Coast and Harbor is doing, it's fantastic work, but if we can't afford it, we can't pay for it, it's not going to do us a lot of good. Our maintenance staff is ready to do what they need to do, but again, their resources are very limited. Like I mentioned, that pile of rock that's out there now, it was a challenge for us to get the funding for that. So it's not a sustainable revenue source for us to continue to expect maintenance to keep repairing that as we move forward. So we also, the biggest concern for us right now is finding that revenue stream. One that's going to pay for the projects, and two is going to pay for maintenance of those projects. As I mentioned, the revetment repair, we've got to repair the dike and the groin. All those rock arming projects need money, the beach nourishment, all that takes funding. And so we probably need more than one funding source to pay for all that. And without that proper funding, we simply can't continue to maintain this roadway as we do